Hi everyone, Fenris Models here, and today we're going to take a look at what comes in the kit for the Academy PBY-5A in 1/72 scale. Now, I've been wanting to build a PBY for a little while now, and it's just taking me a little bit to get one of the kits in. I found this one at my local hobby shop. It was on sale, so I picked it up for relatively cheap. But yeah, how about we go ahead and crack open the box and let's take a look at what comes inside. Now, as you can see, there's not a whole lot to this kit. There are 5 colored sprues. We have our instructions, a small thing of decals, and a clear sprue. So how about we go ahead and start with the instructions. And now, as you can see, this is the regular black and white that you usually get from Academy. We have a little copy of what's on the front of the box there. We have our read before you begin, warnings, the read everything, check fit, don't use too much cement, all that kind of stuff. And then the instructions, they fold out into 3 panels of a leaflet. Not my favorite way of doing it, but it is what it is, I guess. We have our recommended colors up here at the top. There is just a general name. This doesn't tell us what, like, for example, what metallic even means, what shade of gray, what flat. I believe flat is just going to be varnish, but yeah, so it gives you a little bit of open-endedness for which specific colors you want to use, so you're going to have to do a little bit of research there. And we start with installing our main landing gear and the little side machine guns alongside our cockpit parts. Although it does look like it says chromate green interior, so I'm assuming then that green should be chromate green, zinc chromate, but well, no, because then it says olive drab. So yeah, this is pretty much useless if that's the case. Although it does have a differentiation for the bow turret, depending on whether or not you're doing the early or the late version, so you'll need to be able to pick one of those two, whichever one. And we have putting everything into the fuselage and closing it on up, along with our engine assembly. And here we have the middle portion of the wings, along with some bombs. I'll be doing this without the bombs because this is going to be built for a group build for support vehicles, so I will be actually doing this up as a search and rescue craft. But it does come with 4 small bombs for the plane. And then we have the edges of the wings, and you do have the option as to whether or not you want the floats up or down, depending on if you're going to be flying or not. And assembling the wings. We then have the final assembly, little radar portions. Again, if you can have the wheels down, putting the wheels down. This does note down there, if you're doing the early PBY-5As, you do the radar antenna, otherwise you don't. And then we have our painting and decal placement. And again, now here it does say that flat black should be FS 37038. I don't know why. Again, they don't include that here, but whatever. So note that it is 37038. The remainder of our decals and the parts diagram along with any unused parts. It does look like there will be 2 parts on the G sprue and 1 part on the A sprue that will not be used. And here are our decals. There are 6 total. I guess that's what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 if you count the doubling up. I'm probably going to get a third-party decal sheet for this. I am planning on doing this actually in the tritone scheme. I will not be doing it up as a black cat. So look forward to seeing that. But these are Academy decals, which are always, they're not, they can be very hit or miss. If they happen to be a cartograph version, that's great, but this kit, they are not. They are very definitely not. Everything does seem to be keyed nicely, though. One of the bigger issues I tend to run in with Academy decals is you'll have the colors slightly shifted upon each other, so they're like not keyed right. Almost looks like it a little bit here with the instrument panel, but otherwise they look all right. I'll have to see how they lay, and on to the parts. So we have, here are the halves for the bombs, our firewalls for the cockpit portions. Then here on Sprue D we have our little float pieces, and you can see, let's see if I can get it to focus for this. You can see all of that rivet detail on these. So these have a lot of rivet detail, so that is a point in Academy's favor. Propeller and engine pieces along with our waist gunners. And here we have the outside portion of each wing, and let's see if we can get it to pick up. There's actually some nice texture on the portions that are covered in fabric compared to the bare metal, or not bare metal, but the metallic portions. But again, you can see all of that rivet detail that's in there. So very, very crisp insofar as the detail goes, so that's good. Although it does look like they have these little pieces here, so it didn't call it out in the instructions, but whenever you clip these from the sprue, you will need to make sure you remove these and clean up the little sprue gates there and over here. And then the center wing portion, there you go. You can see that difference in texture between the fabric and the metal a little bit clearer on this one. Yeah, good bit of detail. Final sprue here, we have our stabilizers. Come in two parts, so a top and a bottom. And the body of the fuselage is just one giant piece. Kind of wish that they did it in multiple parts, but you can see all of that rivet detail on there. So this will take some washes pretty good. If you're gonna do it with the gear down, here are those little bays. There's not a lot of detail in these though, so you're gonna need to add some detail parts. But the wires, the cabling, and all that. But we do have the struts themselves, some good bit of those. And here are our antennas if you're gonna do the early version. Now, one of the funny things about that last sprue, it's actually wider than the boxes, so you actually have to set it in sideways, and it does kind of bend up. One thing I would recommend if you're worried about the plastic, it's coming in, and just freeing this bit, now everything will lay nice and flat, and you don't have to worry about any plastic bending. This isn't as big of a worry if you're keeping this stored, somewhere where it's not warm, not too humid, and if it's only short term. But if you're gonna be like keeping it for a long time and storing it like in your attic or something, I would recommend you definitely do this. And then we have the plastic. I much prefer keeping these in the plastic if I can. I'm gonna still put it back in there for storage, but I wanted to feel something. And honestly, like, you have pretty easily like noticed canopy frame markings, but you can barely feel them. They are not raised at all, and they're not on the inside either. That was mainly what I wanted to check to see if it was on the inside or the outside. So that will be a pain to mask on those. Let's see. Oh, it's even worse on this one. Oh, that's awful. Okay. Well, at least with this one though, it looks like it's actually mostly something you paint. Like, you're gonna leave these 4, this 2 unpainted, but all of this is gonna get painted. So you'll leave those clear, but this will all be painted. So maybe it's not as bad, but I may look into getting see if I can find some third-party canopy masks, because my usual technique of putting the tape down and using the toothpick to like draw it, it's not stopping the toothpick at all. So I don't think that'll really work. So yeah, that was a quick look at Academy's PBY-5A and 1/72nd scale. I'm hesitant to, I don't want to say hesitant, that sounds a little harsh. I'm looking forward to this build, but with the knowledge that between that canopy, like you can see how much of that canopy is going to need to be painted here, and the frame just is almost non-existent. The colors are way too vague. They're not, you know, you need to do some research on your colors for this. It just feels so at odds with the level of detail for the rivets and the fabric versus metal parts. It's kind of odd. And again, like it only has 11 decals, which feels very little for what there should be. So I'm going to see if there's any third-party decal sets out there for it. As I said, I am doing this. I'm going to do it up as a regular search and rescue Catalina, so I need that anyway. But I find it very interesting that they went so hard on certain aspects of the details and then just completely ignored other bits. But we'll see. We'll see how well it builds up. I have high hopes for it. I think it's going to build up good. I know a couple people who have built this, such as John Alex Scale Modeling. He has built this one up before. He enjoyed the build. I think it's still going to be fun, but there are things to keep in mind while building this kit. I guess that's the best way to phrase it. I won't call it a bad kit, but I would say there are things to keep in mind. So anyway, yeah. Let me know what you thought of this. Let me know if this is a kit that you yourself are thinking about picking on up. As I said, I'll be doing this for a group build, so I'm going to be starting in on it probably as soon as I get done editing this video. So keep an eye out here soon for the build video for this. Yeah. In the meantime, stay safe and keep modeling.
Thank you, Cali Bear, and all of my starter set patrons. Your support is invaluable and keeps this channel going.